Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Blue Diamond Retrospective. This episode, we're going to cover pretty much what was the end of Phase 2 for Blue Diamond. Really what happened, because, I've already covered what happened in, the very beginning of Phase 2, the class projects, and also martial law. And that's really what else was going on. That's why it doesn't feel like I made too many films in Phase 2. Because I spent so much time, especially with the class projects. Most of Phase 2 was class projects. It was a lot of my time I ended up having to spend doing that. So I wasn't able to spend much time doing my own projects. But I had a couple of exceptions of that. So, as we discussed, I did The Real Business, and then we did The Survivor. Then I did cinematography, so I did a few projects there, the classical and the casual, the casual, classical, and the casual. One Good Deed, and The Pain of Regret. And then we did The Good, the Bad, and the Pizza, The Great Debate, and Striking in the spring of 15. Then after that, because I opted not to do my internship course practicum that summer, I decided to wait till next summer to do it. I was going to use the summer of 2015 to use the rental package of the Red 1 camera that I'd gotten for winning Best Cinematography with The Pain of Regret in the Valentine's Day, the MU Valentine's Day Film Festival. So that's where we were going to start. So that summer, I started working on a script called What You Leave Behind. The title was I thought the most fitting, even though it does share the title with the final episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, but the title fits so well with the story, I was like, I don't care if it's the same. Trying to find unique titles is actually really difficult these days. You search IMDb and you think, I've got a title that's unique, and then you find out that it's been done twice or something, it's like, dang. So I just went with it. I had this idea of doing more of a drama film with a little bit of action near the end, with a family drama. And I couldn't ask for a better main cast. Tyler Malloy really does well, and Dakota, I think, does probably the best performance in the movie. And then also just getting the dynamics between him, the two of them, and then also the dad, and just the way all three of those actors, they really came together and really did well. Just knocking out this drama, especially when we did the dinner scene, that was fun. But of course, we had to film this literally Friday, Saturday, Sunday. With this camera that I'd barely gotten a chance to really use. I figured out how to set it up and we kept moving it around. Man, it was so much fun. There's some photos and stuff that at least got taken by Patrick Colwell. I thank for taking those photos with my T5i. Because, man, working with that camera was so much fun. It's the best looking film that we've made. It looks so crisp and clear every time I look at it. I'm like, wow, compared to the other films, so nice looking. So the bits at the house when we filmed where he talks with my character, that was our first day of filming. That was on Friday. We were just getting used to the camera. So we decided to spend it not filming too much and just get a bit of a handle on the camera. Then all the scenes at the house, at the Webb home, which was actually Matthew Copeland's place, was filmed on Saturday, and then all the stuff at the the ranch. I don't know what to call it, the farmland, which actually was our return back to that farmland since The Shadow of Revenge, first time Blue Diamond to come back. I know Martial Law had filmed a little bit out there, but this is the first time since 2010, or 2009, I guess, was when we actually filmed out there. So it was like, 6 years later, here we are, we're back filming. So, in that garage, that's the same place where Bond was doing his whole thing. That's the same exact location. Great fight scene. Got my really good friend Jake Riley, who I've become really good friends with because of my films and then my trailers on my alternate account, editing Jedi Knight, and then turned into editing Sith Lord channel. We got to really know each other and then started chatting on Facebook and stuff. And he had done a voice work. He had done the voice of the President of the United States in The Survivor War's End. But now I was able to give him like a real role because he wanted to come up and visit from Texas. So he was here for a week, and we were like, "Hey, why don't you be in it?" Originally, he was supposed to be a main henchman, and he was actually supposed to die. He was supposed to be the one that gets killed by the dad at the end of the film. But two of our actors dropped right when we were supposed to have two guys in, including one who was supposed to be playing the main villain, and they both dropped. So then we were down limited number of actors. I ended up having to disguise myself as one of them. I'm the guy in the blue shirt and the mask. That's me. And Patrick Colwell had to play a guard as well, even though he was a character elsewhere. And Jake Riley, I had to tell him, "Hey, can you play the villain?" And I think he does a really good job, considering he was given like very little heads up that he was going to end up having to play this role. Literally that day we figured out we were doing this, but we had no real option. I mean, we had this camera only for 3 days, and that's what we had to do. This is our last day of filming. We have to do it this way. So next thing you know, the whole other day he was thinking he was going to be playing this other role, and then next thing you know, when his day of filming comes, he has to play the villain. And I like his performance. I thought he did well playing kind of the... you would think the main boss would be this big tough guy, but not necessarily. Not if it's being done by someone who's clever and smart and knows what he's doing, which is supposed to be what he was supposed to be like. So I like the way he played a kind of unbalanced guy. But I thought they all acted really well, and we had a lot of fun making it, even though it's 3 days. One of the shortest things ever to film, but man, with that camera and everything, and we had to come out and charge batteries, making sure we could dump the footage elsewhere because we were filming in 4K. What You Leave Behind was quite interesting experience, but very educational, very good to learn from, and I was very happy with it. And the end product I thought was pretty good. So in the end, I was happy with it. I think it's one of our better films. I really enjoyed the end product. I thought it did really well, and it's definitely one of my favorites. I loved everyone who got to be in it, that we all got to do this nice film. But then, that got finished, and after that, started working on some classes, started getting busier. It took me a while to actually get that film finished. But classes just started getting crazy, so I wasn't really able to do much in the way of films. I was writing some scripts, then we were just trying to get a project launched. Then, finally, we were able to do chess. Chess actually came from my screenwriting class. I wrote it during my screenwriting class and ended up turning it into a film. That's where chess came from, but it was cool to just get Micah and Dakota out. And we just filmed on a very chilly morning in January of 2016. And got chess done one day of filming, literally. We went out for a couple, I think we were out there for maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Just filmed it, just 3 of us. Very simple film, but it was supposed to be the original script was a test into subtext. So it's supposed to be you gotta be listening to their dialogue because of what they're talking about and trying to piece together what was going on. in the story now. He's talking about how he lost his partner and all this stuff. And basically, this is the killer, and this is the, and, you know, they're finally meeting up and having their final showdown. This killer and this cop, detective, spy, whatever he's supposed to be. I never really explained it. When I actually originally wrote it, they were supposed to be these two old guys, but I changed it once I knew I was going to actually make the film. Yeah. Yeah, that was Chess. It was pretty simple. Hard Goodbyes was a similar thing. I think it was done like a month later. Dakota actually wrote that script, though. I didn't write it. He came to me and was like, hey, can we film this? So I just went out there on the campus, me and Dakota and Patrick Colwell, and we just filmed it. Took us like maybe a couple once again, like an hour and a half. Just filmed it, and then I got to play with the in the editing room to make it where every shot of Patrick Colwell, he's like completely unsaturated and looks ghostly because he's not supposed to actually be there, and you know, while keeping Dakota in, you know, color and everything, and, you know, got to play around with a little bit of the editing on that. That was interesting. You know, got Otto to do the music for both of those, as well as doing the music. Yeah, he did the music for What You Leave Behind as well. Got a little cameo there. Now that's interesting. Something I almost forgot to mention. In What You Leave Behind, I considered for a time making the character in What You Leave, my character, George, from the Computer Network and The Real Business. I actually considered that when I was writing the script of actually making it where it was George. And, you know, connecting into the same universe. But in the end, I decided I didn't really want to make it where George had gone as far as David had gone in terms of like near suicide and drugs and stuff. I didn't, it was like it didn't quite fit George, so I left it out. So there was no so I decided not to make that connection with that character. Then Book by Its Cover we made, which I just grabbed a bunch of my friends who were just available that day, and we just all got in a classroom and filmed it. Once again, literally one day of filming, just a quick short little film. I just was trying to scramble and get it edited up and ready to go. It's the reason why it doesn't have a score by Otto is because I was trying to get it to a film festival, get it in as quick as I could. And, you know, just trying to, so I kind of rushed it. The film festival ended up getting canceled though, so it kind of ended up being pointless to rush it the way we did, but I thought it was just a fun little film. It was just a fun little, I got some cool shots I threw into it, and, you know, just got one together, just had a little bit of fun, you know, so not much to say about it, just threw it together with a bunch of my classmates on campus, so got to show off the campus a little bit in those films, which was nice. But really, after that, I mean, that summer, I knew it was going to be completely dedicated to the internship film, To Drive You. So that summer, I ended up being completely dedicated to that, so I wasn't able to do anything. And then that fall, I was doing cinematography too and directing, so I had enough projects for that fall and winter that there was nothing. And then 2017 hit, and then everything kind of changed in 2017, but I will discuss that in a different episode. So that really covers what we did project-wise. I know this episode isn't quite as long, but there really isn't as much to say. I mean, considering 3 of the films that I put together were literally one day, we just got together and filmed something real quick and easy. And then the other one was the one I really did talk about, was the Red Camera filming of What You Leave Behind, which still does stand as one of our best films. But yeah, there's not a lot to say about that. The rest of it was tied up into class projects and, of course, doing the martial law movies. But that basically ends up phase 2 because, you know, I got Drive You out in 2017, and then that was it. There was no more filming. There's been nothing really for most of 2017. There was nothing. Nothing really happened that year, so it really did. And then I decided to make it where 2017 was the last year of phase 2. and now Phase 3 has begun with 2018. So that pretty much concludes as far along as we've gotten with actual projects that we've made so far. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Wasn't as long as some of the others, but wasn't as much to talk about. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you again in the 9th episode of the series, which will be very interesting because this will be the road not taken. I'm going to discuss all the projects that never did happen or got canceled or whatever, so it'll be interesting to talk about what ideas we had but couldn't end up happening because of various reasons. So look forward to seeing you in that episode.